Everybody, welcome back to the WCS Season 1 Finals. Got the sickest audience here in the Gangnam studio today, watching me just very calmly talk about exactly what the players are thinking and doing. I'm glad that you've tuned in. I hope you like analysis, because that's what's happening here in this morning group with me. I will be solo casting all day here at GSL. I'm going to be switching spots with Wolf and Caldor after this group, so definitely check that out. And you can check them out as well. I think it's twitch.tv/WCS_GSL2, I think. Is there a stream link? Yeah, that is it. Okay, thank you, producer. So go ahead and check them out as well. They have a lot of great games going on. They're doing the group with Ryung, MVP, Alicia, Kongho. So they've told me great games so far, and we've had some very good ones here as well. A little bit more one-sided in them, but one-sided games are actually better to learn from than games that are close, even though people want to see close games all the time. If you can find games where one player absolutely demolishes another, that's going to teach you a lot more about how things work. So definitely some exciting things in that regard for me. And of course, when you're purely analyzing, I guess that makes it more exciting to have the one-sided games, right? It kind of makes sense because there's more that you can point out about, well, this and this and that is why this turned out like this, as opposed to, oh, you missed that one storm and it was really close, you know? Okay, so we're going to be going into Alive versus Stephano. And Alive wasn't looking bad today, but he was definitely looking like he's a completely different caliber from Solkey. And, you know, unfortunately, I guess that is the way things are. But Stephano is one of the best players in the world. I think no one can really argue with that. He can give anyone really a run for their money. So I'm kind of feeling Stephano for this match, but we'll see. You know, this is home turf for Alive. You have to remember that. He did qualify through WCS NA, but he is in fact Korean, of course. Stephano, though, has spent a lot of time in Korea, and in fact, both of them part of Team EG. So I'm sure they know each other's playstyles very well. I'm sure Stephano isn't like nervous or anything. He's not one that seems to get nervous in any way. And we'll be getting into that game in just a moment here, guys. As you see the players there on stage. A couple EGs going at it. Well, this is the loser's match, so I guess in this case we have all our eggs in one basket. Egg being EG. I'm funny. Alright, here we go. In the top left, our Terran player, he is...
EG Alive Raid Call from America.
From the America qualifiers. And from France, in the bottom right, one of the best Zerg players in the world, he is...
EG Stephano Raid Call from Europe.
Alright. So... just so everyone knows that may be watching, maybe you're sitting in your apartment in Korea watching this right now, and you're like, you know what? I wanna go to one of these places. Well, I mean, of course you could hit up the Yongsen studio, but down here in Gangnam, this is English only today. We are broadcasting out English to the studio on the main screen and all that. So it's definitely a lot of fun. We already have 7 awesome, intelligent people that are down here checking it out, and they're having a sick good time, absolutely. So definitely check that out. I'll be the only solo caster on main stage today. We'll go to duos only after that for the rest of the weekend. So you're gonna have some more hypey casts and stuff. All right, let's talk about this. Have a couple 12 racks going down. You know, obviously this build is still very viable. Now Stephano has drone scouted, so this is gonna help him. He hasn't made his hatch yet. Will he make his hatch? I think he should not. Okay, he starts the hatch. He's going to want to make a pool immediately. But these Raxes are so close. This was a really ballsy double proxy. In fact, his Overlord is about to scout it. So, does he keep the hatchery? He has to put it on pool right this second. Okay, there it is. But I think with the proximity that he has to cancel the hatch, I kind of feel. The thing is, if you cancel a hatch, it's extremely hard to win, but I feel like this could be anyways. Now, he's sending out a lot of drones. Where will the first bunker go? Okay, this SCV going so far, he's not going to be able to make any bunker. We have no other SCVs down here. I'm kind of actually a little bit concerned because now I think it's obviously very right that he hasn't canceled the hatchery because it's the bunkers that are going to help you to actually finish this off. This is almost as if Alive flipped a series of coins to choose this build. This is failing so epically hard. We're actually watching drones kill Marines and SCVs right now. And he can actually just send his drones home. And this leaves Alive with, like, he's going to have one Marine at home, maybe a couple more rallied out. He's so far behind, and from here, he either does an all-in or goes to command center immediately. And either way, I feel like this wasn't that well planned. This was so risky, and, you know, double 12 racks can be risky, but he brought them all the way down here, brought no extra SCVs. I don't know what his plan was exactly. Like, I guess if Stephano doesn't drone scout, then suddenly this can get out of control extremely fast, but I don't know. I personally don't care for builds like that much, and I think that if there's a skill difference between Stephano and Alive, it isn't so large that you necessarily need to do something like that. Okay, so now Stephano, let's see. He has 10 lings, so it's 18 drones, 18 SCVs, but don't be fooled. This is greatly in the lead of Stephano. Right now, Alive is making those 2 command centers, as mentioned previously. But Stephano can do basically anything right now. Anything he chooses to do is fine, because it is going to be a long time before Alive is out on the map again. Now, Alive has 2 barracks to work with. Normally you go straight into a factory from here. If he goes straight into the factory, does he want to continue Marine production? Now, he might just use the barracks to make some add-ons, maybe get stim reasonably quickly. Of course, I'm sure that he'll make like a reactor for the factory on one of them. But, oh, never mind. Okay, so this is what I was wondering about. What is he going to do with his barracks? And it looks like he's actually going to utilize them. So we actually might see him do something such as get combat shields and move out on the map with a very awkward amount of Marines. Or he might just, and we do see the factory, which is obvious because he did grab the 2 gas. We could just see something to the effect of a lot of Marines to help tank and deal damage, and then a lot of Hellions with them to make sure Speedlings don't just own them up. So I think that's what we're going to see, and it's a very powerful type of follow-up, and he'll have a pretty good economy behind it with triple orbitals, dropping mules, and making SCVs. But this is something Stephano should be able to scout pretty easily, I would say. Now, we do have actually stim on the way instead of combat shields, so this leads me to believe that he is setting up for a longer game. He's not expecting to kill Stephano necessarily with this. There is a possibility he'll throw down another tech lab, but no, it is double reactor. Okay, so that's a little bit more standard, a little bit more normal. Normally, if you're going to go for like a really heavy Hellion Marine pressure, a lot of times it has combat shields. It's kind of an old build in that regard, but with stim it can be very powerful as well. Now, Stephano grabbing his double evolution chamber is quite nice to see, and he's actually doing exactly what he wants with these links. He tried to stall that out and see what was going on, and now he has a reasonably good idea. He knows at least some Marines were made, and he knows that factory is out, most likely with the reactor. In fact, I'm sure he knows it's a reactor, making these Hellions. So he's gotten a lot of information off those lings that weren't the most useful things. Now, the more important part here is that his upgrades are way ahead. He's started the 1-1, and we have no engineering bays yet for Alive. So they just started now. He's going to be ahead on upgrades. There's a possibility for Alive to catch up at 3-3 based upon what Stephano wants to do. Does he want to stay layer tech longer, or does he want to go to Hive quickly? I think he'll probably go to Hive quickly, so I think he'll just basically be ahead of upgrades for a very long time. And as long as he always does engagements during, like, right after his upgrades finish, like from the time he has 1-1 to about a third of the way through 2-2, and then by the time he has 2-2 through it, like maybe a third-ish of the way through 3-3 or maybe a little bit less, as long as he focuses on engagements in those areas, he's going to have a 2-upgrade advantage, which makes a really, really big difference in this matchup. You know, you have a lot of units, a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Marines, and the higher the amount of units in the battles, the more important the upgrades are. So, enough about those upgrades. We do have the lair finishing up, a macro hatch as well. Everything looking really great for Stephano. As far as Alive goes, he is getting his 1-1 again, very far behind. His starport about halfway done, and he's just trying to get something done with this pressure that we're seeing here. He does have stim, but his units are split up right now, so he has to be careful about that. He's actually a little bit lucky. If the Marines were over, the Zerglings were on the Marine side, he would have been in trouble there. But here we go, nice little surround going down, but the Marines adding a lot of extra damage. So Stephano might end up losing this hatchery, but he has 42 lings on the way, so I think he'll be fine now. Alive probably wants to go in between the minerals and the hatchery because he's really wide open right now. But it looks like he's just going to target down before the engagement happens anyways. And that's really good for Alive right now. You know, I'm a little bit surprised that that caught Stephano that off guard, because in a situation against a failed 2-rack, something like that, it's pretty smart to actually go in and just scout what they're doing, which, you know, like, for instance, this is one of the differences you'll see between a player like Sulky and a player like Stephano. If you think back to Sulky against Alive, he sent, like, Overlords in 4 times into Alive's base. Stephano did not send an Overlord in. He only used some Zerglings at the natural to see that there were Hellions, but he also saw additional Marines, so he really should have sent a single Overlord in. If he had seen the speed of the 3 barracks coming up there and the add-ons they had, he could have maybe had enough Marines to hold his 3rd base there. So, a little bit lackluster on the scouting right now from Stephano, I would say. Okay, so we have a good batch of mutas on the way, that Baneling speed. Stephano's still okay. It's not like he's going to lose the game now because he lost that hatchery. He's still got really good tech. He's got everything he needs tech-wise. And again, notice his 2-2 was getting to halfway done when 2-2 got to start for Alive, so he's still really well ahead on those upgrades. And a nice snipe going down. Has a nice little patch of units over at the 3rd base as well. Just making sure that he can keep that. His creep spread's looking okay. But, you know, Alive's starting to get his Mac on. If Alive can actually secure his 3rd base... Oh, that was some really nice micro, by the way. Gotta hand it to him there. Picked off all the Banelings and got out of there. The mutas may end up catching him, though, which would be too bad. Excuse me. If he actually secures this 3rd and gets it mining well, then suddenly Stephano is in kind of a harder spot. Now he's about to have 2-2 for his Zerglings, and he's about to have the +1 attack for Mulus. A lot of Mulus coming. He's morphing some more Banelings. We see no drones in production, nor should we right at the second because he has 67. So we should be seeing 67's good for 3 bases until he gets that next hatch up. He needs to be making a lot of units, and he needs to actually go out and do something, whether it's kill some pieces of army, maybe harass that 3rd base a bit. There is a bunker and looks like a Widow Mine coming, but he may be able to get in there and do a little bit of damage. And that's what he needs to do, because his 3rd did get killed, and Alive's 3rd is similarly timed to his new 3rd, which is never good for Zerg. So, still one active Widow Mine down there. He's got to be careful if he chooses to move in. Still no 4th base being taken by Stephano. He needs to be thinking about that really, really soon. But the macro is actually being hit by Alive, and as I was saying before, Stephano gets to choose if he stays layer longer or goes into Hive, and he's chosen to stay layer. So we're about to have Alive catch up in upgrades as well. So Stephano started at a nice place after finding the double proxy racks, but at this point, Alive is basically caught up in every way. You know, he has a lot of supply, he has his macro, just caught up in upgrades. His 3rd base is similarly timed to Stephano's. You can see he actually has a big supply lead at this point. So Stephano now starting to re-drone, but This is actually suddenly looking pretty good for Alive. And now Alive can start really rallying down and pressuring Stephano. Nice little Widow Mine hit there. I love that randomness of that Widow Mine where it's located. Makes it really hard for Zerk to fight against something like that. And look at this. He's going to force a cancel. If Stephano doesn't like kill that army or something like, he has to get in here and get something done really soon. Like the time frame where Stephano doesn't get super far behind is right now, but he has no fourth, no hive tech. 3-3 upgrades have started for his opponent. He's making a lot of Lings. It looks like he's just going to have to get super aggressive with Ling Bane Muta because Alive is denying everything and slowing him down, and really, he's almost maxed out right now, and the banks aren't really that different. We do have a bigger bank for Stephano right now, but, you know, Alive is going to surpass that really, really quickly once he hits his max. So right now, we do have him moving down the map. Lot of Banelings being made. This is so important. Those Banelings actually have to be very efficient because, again, not able to keep his fourth base up. And Alive is fine. He'll play 3 base versus 3 base all day till they're mined out. He does not care. That's a good situation for Terra. So right now, maxed out, Stephano down a little bit in supply, waiting for that +2, waiting for a few more units. He should be able to kill this army. And here we go. He's going to need to do it. He's going to need to do it efficiently. Good Banelings, but he does lose quite a few there. That was a nice Widow Mine hit. And, well, Alive. Ooh, that was a really good hit. If he can get out with those medevacs, then this is basically a successful game for him. He has more units rallying up, more Widow Mines as well. This is basically the end of Stephano now. You know, he doesn't really have much left. He continues to make a lot of mutas, and he does that +2. He's about to have 25 mutas total. But, you know, 25 mutas aren't going to do that well against 3-3 Stim Combat Shield Medevac Marines with Widow Mine support. And you have to have a lot of production to keep a lot of Lings and Banes with that type of Mutaclump to deal with that. But he simply doesn't have that. He's down 50 supply. And in fact, oh, that's beautiful. I love it. He's just really stretching Stephano way too thin. It's been a weird game. Alive has manhandled Stephano here. He has just completely manhandled him. And taking that fourth base, once he secures that, and he's making it a planetary just to really make sure. And the thing is, yeah, you can't lift a planetary versus like Mutas or Banes, but if he uses Banes on it, that's even good for Alive. So, well, Stephano gets that kill, which is nice. That's kind of a very Stephano-esque way to play. He loves to get a huge clump of +2 or +3 mutas and snipe command centers, but it's still 3 base versus 3 base, and he's going to have to crush an army. So we'll see if he can actually get that done. It looks like he's going to go for this, but his units hitting at different times here. He has a big clump of units still coming in. There they are, but this wasn't as well choreographed as he really needed it to be. And he will fly around and pick off these drops, but the thing is, the drops are doing what they need to. He just drew the mutas to the side there so he could reset up over here. And there he goes, pushing in once again and trying to lure these units back into things like Widow Mines and his other bigger concave of Marines. So as long as Alive keeps playing a very solid macro style like this, not overcommitting and dropping all over, Stephano has to fly around with this huge group of units. And there's just not much left for him to do. See, he does this, but as I was saying that Alive wasn't doing the first game, he's using this opportunity to hit somewhere else. And while this hit right here that we're seeing isn't necessarily the best hit, at least he's doing that. He's stretching that multitasking of Stephano and making Stephano choose where does he put these units. So, ooh, that was almost really, really good. So Alive continued to push forward. Stephano coming back. Let's see how many. Ooh, some really nice hits there. Now this is getting to be kind of a small army by Alive here. He needs to really rally his units down. He is, but he needs to join them up because Stephano's starting to get a bit cost efficient against this, which is what Alive never really wants to have happen. And with those drilling claws, oh god, that is a lot of orange and red mutas in there. So this is about it. We should be seeing a GG coming out of Stephano reasonably soon here. Alive still has a pretty solid economy. Takes down that hatchery with 2 Marines. And now Stephano is sitting on nothing. His main is mined out. His natural is mined out. And all he has left is a really nice clump of mutas. He has 26 plus 2 mutas. But he's actually against 17 Widow Mines, 12 Medevacs, and 50 plus Marines. So, of course, I think anyone could do their own math and figure out who wins that one. This is basically Alive just continuing to put on pressure, waiting for Stephano to leave, whereas Stephano saying, GG, there you go. All right, I want to chalk that one up, in my opinion. I'm going to throw that down to Stephano not scouting. If Stephano plays a little bit more like Sulky, now his Overlord scouting path was thrown off a bit because he was dealing with the double Proxerax, right? He had an Overlord going off to the side, saw that. That kind of diverts all your attention. So maybe that's why he didn't have Overlords in position. But it's one of the most important things for Zerg is to know that attacks are coming before they come. Because if you do know that, you have time to make units. Because you need to make your units at the last moment. That is the most important thing. If you can make your units at the last possible moment to overwhelm your opponent's army, that's how you get perfect Zerg play. So the fact that Stephano never poked in to see that he continued Marine production, got the quick stim, got the double reactor right away. If he had seen all that, he would have said, oh, okay, he's going to do a Marine Hellion timing push. It's not that common. It's a little bit older, so I'm not surprised he didn't expect it. But if you don't scout it, you can't know. And if you don't know that it's coming and the Hellions have given him map control, so you literally don't know it's coming until it's there, you're not going to be able to hold it. And that one attack gave Alive the edge he needed to actually get back into that game, secure his third base, catch up on upgrades, and stop Stephano from rolling him over. So hopefully Stephano can maybe scout a little bit better this game. It is going to be on Star Station, and we're going to be jumping in there. Yep, no, we're gonna restart that game. Okay. I'm not sure. It could have been the wrong version or the wrong map, something like that. So, I hope you guys are enjoying the WCS seasonal finals, day 1 so far today. Thank you to everyone who came out. Once again, you guys are the best. I hope people are not too annoyed with my solo casting the analytical only. I can't be screaming about these Baneling hits or I will lose my voice. And this is, I guess you kind of get to watch StarCraft like I watch it at home. Whenever I'm like sitting on my couch watching StarCraft on the big screen, I basically just watch it and think very analytically about it all while I watch and think, oh no, he's doing this because of this and that type of stuff. That is our awesome crowd right now. One guy out of shot. There he is, the StarCraft sign. We all like StarCraft here. All right. If you're here and you don't like StarCraft, that's really weird. So, looks like... Oh, okay. The next map is actually Neoplanet S. So they hosted the wrong map in Star Station. Neoplanet S. Okay. And that's kind of an interesting second map to be seeing here. Well, you know what? I've seen Stephano play a lot of really good games here. So we'll have to see. Of course, there's always... I'm sure a lot of people remember from WCS EU Finals that one match with 4GG and all his medevacs. Oh my god. A crazy one indeed. Looks like we are in the game,